2 minutes.
Once again, I think the biggest role that we as a city councilor have is kind of this bully pulpit. We really should try to voice these issues as much as we possibly can, because this is another statistic that a lot of people just don't know about in the city. And, you know, from the city's resources, we have to support the CDBG stuff that comes through, but more importantly, we have to be out there kind of championing these issues, because you're going to get a lot of supporters from the county and from the state. And as a city councilor, I'd be willing to go to the state to try to fight for these issues, where we can probably find some more likable funding sources. But that should be, in my opinion, our number one role, is to try to be a voice for these issues so we can spread these statistics throughout the community. Because, I mean, from the people I've talked to, it's not a very well-known statistic. It was one of the things that as I read through this, I was like, this is something that we should try to talk about more. So, but there you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Becky?
You know, that's a really sad statistic, I think. I think we should do what we can to help all of our citizens, especially when you're running for city council or getting involved in your community. To be honest, if there's anyone in poverty, I don't care what the color of your skin is. It's our role to be there to support everybody and do our best to, again, provide opportunities if we can support businesses that can create the jobs for them. But, you know, I think about a lot of, you know, maybe it starts with when they're really young. When they're really young, and I know there are resources out there. If we can work together, city leaders, all these organizations that help our families, start when they're young, teach those kids in school. I've been involved in organizations that we go into the schools and we talk about conflict resolutions and things like that. Can we teach our kids that, you know what, you can make it in this world, and encourage them to read to our kids and give them a chance at education. They'll be well-grounded as they get older, and I think that would benefit all races. I would like to see some effort in that. I think we do a good job in this city, but we can continue to support those efforts. You know, I think about some of the things I've been involved in. I volunteer in a health fair, and we see all the Duluth third and fourth graders come through our health fair. And I got to tell you, they come from all over Duluth, Proctor, all over. Kids from all walks of life. And I look into their eyes, and all I can see is this is our future, and they have potential. And we have to do what we can as city leaders to support jobs for them in the future, but also to help them along the way to get a good education and support at home so they make it. So that's my feel.
Well, I think that there's one word that hasn't really been stated yet, and that's racism. That there's a reason why we see this statistic, and that's because that there's racism in Duluth, and it exists in probably every single community, and it's something that we absolutely are responsible for and need to take seriously in addressing in our city, and that's why these statistics look the way they look. The role of a city councilor in doing that, I think, is the role of, as a community leader, that we need not to be afraid to say it. I mean, racism is one of those words you whisper, right? You're going to go, racism. We're not really going to talk about that. There's a lot of other words that we whisper too, you know, drugs, you know, things like that. But it's something that people don't want to talk about. They don't want to deal with what's actually happening in our community. But what racism does is it actually marginalizes and oppresses a whole group of people. And then we end up with things like this, where we have higher levels of certain groups of people in poverty. And that is not acceptable in a community, because a community is about everybody. A community is about making sure that everybody has the same opportunities, that everybody is welcome here, and that we can all, coexist peacefully together. My experience in the last 17 years has been working in nonprofit, community-based organizations, and the goal of all of my work has been around providing, helping to build community that is safe and healthy for everyone. And the only way I've known how to do that, and what I've learned through those years, is to actually state and name the problem for what it is, and then we can start to talk about it and address it. So again, I would see that the role of a city councilor is to role model and provide leadership in how we talk about these issues, and to make sure that as they come up, as they come to the attention of city council, that we are proactive in addressing them.